Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of the Comic Book Nerd Podcast. I am Eric.
This is Jeremy.
And remember, check out the website. It's comicbooknerd.net. And you can follow me on Twitter at EricWild91.
And me at Jeremy Ohio.
All right, and let's get right into here some of the good stuff.
Like your radio voice. I like your radio voice.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. They taught us in the biz. I'm going to say that. They taught us in the biz. You know, you kind of have one, but you don't want to go too Morning Zoo, like, whoa, welcome to the Comic Book Nerd. We got it, Morning Zoo type of, I don't know.
What would your Morning Zoo name be? Would you be the animal or would I be the animal?
I think you'd be the animal. I would have to have DJ in my name at least once, if not twice. DJ E Wild, DJ.
And the
Wild.
shark.
And the shark. Oh, it's always an animal too. It's like TJ and the Barracuda or something.
We're naming on. I think they're mammals.
They're always.
Anyway.
Something. Okay. All right. Let's start at this then. Let's go right into the comics. Something I know because you're a big fan of the particular character and the particular way he's written right now, and with Sam Humphries and everything, is Star-Lord. And Star-Lord and Kitty Pryde, #1.
Sold out at my shop.
Did it really? Well, I bought one of those, so I can say I did my part. 25
copies.
Nice. So,
when Star-Lord was going, we were only ordering 12. So we were banking on the fans responding positively to the Star-Lord Kitty Pryde relationship, and they did not disappoint.
Isn't it just amazing to think even 1 year ago how, that probably wouldn't... I mean, 1 year ago we were... Well, 1 year ago we were about to be... That's right. Guardians came out like almost a year ago to the day. But still, like 2 years ago or something, No one even would have known. It would have been a Star-Lord and Kitty Pryde. It would have been who? Well, first I would have probably been Kitty Pryde and Star-Lord. But at that
I would say awareness of Star-Lord and the Guardians really didn't start till the weekend that the movie came out. I mean, even at the shop, people were not talking. The only talk we got of that movie was, yeah, but that movie's got a raccoon and it talks. So, I mean, that... People didn't care, and I mean, I've always loved the Guardians. I've been reading Guardians of the Galaxy comics for most of my life, when they were around anyway. And Star-Lord has always been one of my favorite characters, but I love this current iteration of him, mostly because I loved what they did with the character James Gunn and Chris Pratt did in the movie, and I think it translated really well into the book.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was really cool. I was one that when Guardians of the Galaxy was first announced, I remember when there was that spot and there was a lot of rumors back and forth as to what was going to be there. I have always been a big Black Panther fan, so I was really rooting at that time. Now we're talking like 3-4 years ago or something before it was even announced at this point. But I was rooting for Black Panther, and I thought, oh, that would have been great. You put Black Panther, and then he's in Avengers 2, and I was just, and then when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy, I was a little upset at first because I just really wanted that Black Panther movie, but then I had heard of them kind of, but I've gone back since and read a lot of their older stuff, and it's really cool, like the DNA run and whatever, and everything with like was it Major Victory or whatever. I always love that. It's such a cheesy name, but I love that, and getting in like the old Guardian stuff, how they cross over with them and through different stuff, and that it really took like a weird time hoppy thing during that run. It was so awesome.
Mm-hmm. But and while I enjoy the Guardians book that Bendis has been writing, he's kind of doing what he was doing on the X-Men and spinning his wheels a bit.
Yeah,
I love Sam Humphries' solo Star-Lord book. That was my #1 Marvel book.
It was really good
during Marvel Now. That was my #1.
I really like Humphries because he's doing Planet Hulk too, right? What I'm saying. Yeah. It's good stuff, but I'll agree with you on the Bendis thing. Bendis is so... I was talking to someone the other day, and I made a really interesting... we came to a good realization is, like, from, like, a sports standpoint, like, Bendis is almost like... He's like a Kobe Bryant or something. Like, there was a point where his name alone was enough to be like, oh, yeah, Kobe? It's, maybe the greatest or something. Like, Bendis and, like Bendis on Daredevil and stuff was like, oh, man, it's untouchable. Now it's kind of a point where it's just like... I mean, he can do good. Like, he can put up good numbers. But it's almost like, it's a younger man's game now. There's so many other guys up and coming that I'd rather be reading for the most part.
what's sad is like he's really doing a good job with Old Man Logan right now, and it's kind of it's more of a throwback to like Alias and Daredevil days.
I'm reading Alias right now too. Actually, I've been going through and reading it. Actually, I even read an issue before coming on here. I've been rereading it to get ready for the show. And yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, but getting back to Star-Lord and Kitty Pryde, my favorite part of the Humphreys run was them introducing the Star-Lord and Kitty romance, because it's two characters that you just would not have expected to be together, but they work perfectly off each other.
Oh, definitely. It's she's got that weird Peter thing. Everyone named Peter. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but even in the Ultimate Universe,
when I used to read X-Men when I was a kid, I used to pronounce Colossus's name as Pytor.
Pytor. I used to be like Piotr.
Piotr.
Is it just Peter? Is it just Peter?
I'm pretty sure it's just Peter.
I always used to be like, when I was little, I was always Piotr.
I don't know. Most of the time yeah, the interesting part of the book, this book was delayed by almost 2 months, but there's a good reason for that, and that's Secret Wars #4.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because spoiler. Oh, by the way, everybody, spoilers. At the end of Secret Wars 4, Lord Doom, our Lord and Savior
God
Doom,
Emperor, bless his name,
sent God Doom sent all of the heroes from the life rafts from the original 616 Marvel Universe throughout. He's strewn them about Battleworld. And Peter ends up in a territory where Drax is a hilarious club owner.
Yes. Drax with hair in his suit.
And he sings Disney songs as if they were show tunes, and he wrote them, and it was hilarious.
That was the best. You just casually mentioned, like, I'm reading the lyrics, and it opens, and he's singing, and I'm kind of like, well, this sounds vaguely familiar.
Little Mermaid, man.
Yeah, right, Little Mermaid. I was like, this sounds... Huh, and then, like, in his narration, he's like, oh, yeah, there's no, like, Disney never happened in Battleworld, so I can get away with it.
With the Kitty walks into the club to do a deal with that territory's version of Gambit, and...
they call it, he was the Collector in this.
Yeah, which was cool. I like the Gambit's at Psych. I've always liked Gambit, so...
Oh, yeah. Which, speaking of, not to get off into that, but just since Gambit was mentioned... apparently today I read an article that it talked about when they're starting filming for the movie with Channing Tatum, and they said the budget is over $150 million.
I don't believe that.
I think it was
that's higher than the budget for Ant-Man.
It was Comic Book Resources. It said it's $150 million. It said it was 30 more than.
I mean, I may write for Bleeding Cool, but Comic Book Resources.
That's fair. I'm just saying. No, I agree. I agree with you. That's Bleeding Cool is my first choice, but yeah, no, I don't know. It's probably
that would be. Insane.
It has to not be true, but
that has to not be true. I don't believe that. That's higher. I think that's higher than the budget of X-Men First Class.
That's higher than the budget of. They said it's like $30 million more than the Wolverine. So I mean, the second Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie. I mean, unless they're just really high on Channing Tatum.
I can't believe
his star
that.
power in this. I don't know.
Anyway,
don't shoot the messenger. Go on though.
But it was the first time, as far as I can remember, and I've read all of the Secret Wars tie-ins. So if you remember one, refresh my memory. I'm pretty sure that Peter's narration talking about the end of the Earth and Doom remaking the world and him being on the life raft with Reed and Black Panther and the Spider-Mans and all that. I'm pretty sure this is the first book to mention that. I'm pretty sure he's the first person to remember the old Earth. Am I wrong? Besides what we've seen in Secret Wars?
No, this is definitely the first time somebody has remembered to it. They've kind of alluded to some things in other books. I know, like a Spider-Verse. They're kind of like remembering things about the past, but
they don't remember.
Right, they don't know. Like nobody seems to know. This is, I believe you're right. This is the first time that somebody has actually mentioned outside of Secret Wars, like Strange talking to Doom or something like that. Yeah, I think you're right.
So anyway, he sees Kitty, and of course, being Peter from the original 616 Marvel Universe, he sees her and he thinks it's Kitty. So he grabs her and he kisses her, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Wait, you're not my kitty." And then she scans him with she was buying some kind of material from Gambit that they didn't say what it was.
Like hair.
Yeah,
I
hair
hope
from
she wasn't just
something.
buying hair. That's weird. But hey,
But it was of an unknown origin that from not a Battle World territory.
right.
That's why she was buying it to take it to Doom. And then when she scans Peter, he has no origin, so she's now wants to take him to see Doom. And I'm afraid that Doom's gonna be all pissy with Star-Lord, and now I'm sad.
I thought it was interesting. I think this might have been the first time, another first for this, is that somebody said Valeria Von Doom. I had to double check it too, and it said the foundation she worked for was Valeria Von Doom's foundation. And I found that interesting because I know it's kind of been alluded to that Doom is with Sue, even outright said he's with Sue and everything.
She's there
I don't
together,
remember if they had said the last name Von Doom before, but I thought that was very interesting. I mean, it's to be expected, but it's just interesting reading it the first time like that. Valeria Von Doom and Susan Von Doom, and that's just nuts. And then obviously the Human Torch is the son. And did you read Siege #1? It came out the week before.
I did, yeah.
Is the Thing the wall? Because that was like a theory some people had, and then the Thing kind of just stood up out of the wall. I don't know if I was confused by that.
Maybe I was a little confused by that too. I don't really know, but maybe.
It'd be interesting to see him just use all the parts of the, rest of the Fantastic Four like that, except Reed, and just take Reed's life and then, cast them away. But I don't know. I think it had something to do with the wall in Siege, because he had him just sort of stand up out of it as a thing. I couldn't think of anything better to say than the Thing. But
well, as we know, he's going to be part of the Guardians of the Galaxy with Kitty Pryde as Star-Lord.
That's or Star Lady or something.
Whatever they're going to call her. Star Kitty. It's got to be Star Kitty. If it's not Star Kitty, I'll be so disappointed. But that's part of all different Avengers. So
I'm very excited about that. I was a little, I was kind of hoping someone else besides Bendis would be taking it over, but honestly, I can live with it. I think over the years, I think Bendis shines better with a solo character for the most part.
Yeah, he's got this he's got this reputation now as a team book writer. But I mean, he just wrote Avengers for a really long time. That's it. Not all of his Avengers run was very good.
My biggest complaint with Bendis would pretty much all of it would be team stuff, except Moon Knight, but that's another conversation. But that was, I don't even know if he had heard of Moon Knight before he started writing that, based on everything going on. But anyways, because I mean, the X-Men and stuff like that, but then you think like stuff like Daredevil and Alias and stuff was so good. That's why I'm really optimistic. And then Spider-Man too, his Ultimate Spider-Man stuff, especially with Miles. That's good. That's good stuff. So that's why I'm really optimistic about him being on Iron Man now, starting in October. Yeah, I guess so.
But
fingers crossed. But
go buy Star-Lord and Kitty Pryde #1, everybody, because it's freaking awesome.
Good stuff. All new Hawkeye. Did you see? I am absolutely loving this.
I have it, but I have not read it yet.
Well, I won't. I'll be careful with the spoilers.
That's okay.
I'll say this: I just love it, and I was so worried about this book moving on. I thought, well, maybe it'll probably be good, but there was no way it was going to live up to it. And I'm not, and I can't quite say it has yet lived up to the Matt Fraction run on Hawkeye, but it's been really nice. Not just trying to be the same thing, but really kind of continuing it. They're going with an interesting direction where they're telling stories of the past along with the present, and that's the thing where they really blew my mind. It's Jeff Lemire and Ramon Perez, and they did really from the first issue. It was just right out of the gate was so cool with literally switching on the same page, switching between past and present, and getting to a point when they both sort of reach the climax at the same point. And you've got Clint present day running down a hallway, and then in the windows, the reflections on the wall are Clint in the past as a child running in that story. And it's just it's hard to explain. But then when they get to modern day stuff, it looks kind of like the David Aja stuff, the previous run. But then in the past, it's almost like a painting, and it just somehow he's got them working so good. And this issue was really cool because it was mostly story of the past. And then it'd be on the bottom was one panel per page of continuing the story on the present day.
Yeah, they did that. I think it was in issue 2 with the past stuff. It was mostly at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then the current stuff was the rest of the page. Yeah. Right. I like that. Yeah.
It's really cool. And I think this is cool. There's lots of little things here. They're really showing why he's the way he is. Like, you start to see some of Barney, like his brother. His brother becomes someone. The name escapes me. Something like a trick shot or some kind of name like that. He becomes some archer thing. I know that he hasn't been for years. I think he was during like Dark Reign or something. But anyway, so you see some of his like criminal past start to develop as they're kids, and then you see Clint like channeling his anger of that into like a nice little montage of him shooting and slowly getting better and better with the bow, because he's almost channeling his frustration into that. I just think over the last couple of years we've seen such a renaissance with Hawkeye. Like, in general, the character.
It's like the book where they let him do it. They just let him go and do whatever they want, basically.
Right, and it's just been so amazing coming in and just filling the blanks on this character who used to just be some throw-in on the Avengers. You know,
hey, I always liked Hawkeye.
No, I always liked him too, but it always kind of felt like you're making an Avengers team, and you kind of just had to stick him in there somewhere. Like, it was just like, well, you got to kind of have Hawkeye as like an accessory.
Because everybody loves Hawkeye.
I love him. He's great. Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's
the best.
Speaking of Matt Fraction,
yes.
Sex Criminals comes back this Wednesday. Finally.
Yes. How long's it been?
Oh God.
Is this a Matt Fraction thing?
No, they had some issues. Chip Zdarsky took over Howard the Duck, and he launched Capterra.
So
yeah, and
he's doing Jughead too.
Yep, and now he's doing Jughead in October. Chip Zdarsky's the man.
Oh, he's
I met him at San Diego, and he was hilarious.
Oh, awesome.
But yeah, Sex Criminals finally comes back. It's been a while. I want to say at least 4 months, maybe 5. But I was fortunate enough to already have read it, and it's fantastic. I don't. Are we explicit?
We can be explicit.
We can be
explicit. Yeah. I think we can be explicit. You go for it.
Okay. Well, first of all, each issue is coming polybagged, and they did 1,000 sketch covers and just randomly inserted them into polybags. They took 1,000, and the funny part about that is, the first time they did them, I mean, some of them are really horrible sketches, but the first time they did it, they drew like Batman taking a shit.
Oh, God.
And stuff like that, and just all kinds of stuff. And Image Comics got back to them and were like, guys, what are you doing? We can't do that. So
awesome.
They drew 1,000 covers, and then they had to go back and they had to redraw all of them.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. That's what the biggest shit. Yeah, that's what the biggest delay in getting the issue out was, because they wanted to do it for the fans as they were coming back, and they had to redo all 1,000 blank covers that they drew on. But when you go to your shop on Wednesday and pick it up, they'll all be polybagged. There's no way to tell if you're getting one or not. You can just you open it up and you find out if you got an original piece of art signed by Chip Zdarsky and Matt Fraction. So that's cool.
That is so cool. That's like borderline Willy Wonka stuff.
Yeah. Or
the golden ticket.
Yeah. Or you might get the XXX Not Safe for Work.
Oh boy.
Brian Lee O'Malley cover, the variant cover.
This sounds great.
It's awesome. Yeah, I'm contemplating just buying all of the copies.
Just hoard them. Just to see if I could get them. I don't know.
Just to see if I could get one of all 3 covers, because I really want one of the sketch covers. But anyway,
that's amazing.
The issue itself picks up where it left off. They're with John's porn star crush from when he was a kid. And they found out that she can also stop time when she orgasms. And they're trying to figure stuff out. They stole all the files from the sex police officer. And hilarity ensues. There's monster trucks. There's old people homes named after David Bowie songs. There's a sexual Patronus. And I'm not going to explain that. There's all kinds of stuff. And it's hilarious. The letters column is hilarious, just like always. Lots of stories about sex in libraries this time, actually. Make sure you pick that up on Wednesday. If nothing else, just for the fun of buying a polybag comic for the first time in forever.
So what you're saying is Sex Criminals, good for the whole family, right?
It's kind of the best comic around. It really is. It's warm-hearted and hilarious, and it speaks a lot to a lot of misconceptions about sex and it's so comfortable in its own skin. I would hand it to any confused teenager and be like, just read this. Just read this. You will understand. Don't worry anymore. You're okay.
Well, that's really cool. Now I have a question though about this. Is it's like I'm assuming the rating for this book is like one of those mature like adult, or is it like that where it'd be like the parental advisory thing on it?
Oh God, yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's a completely awful thing.
Now, when you're selling it, I have a question about like being in the in the comic selling business like you are. In that situation, is it anything like video games where like you have to be like, oh, okay, well you're clearly a kid, you can't do this, or is it kind of just like, well, buy it, but then
Yeah. Well, our shop in particular has a parental advisory on all adult comics at the register, and we bag them even if they weren't polybagged.
Okay.
So there's no worries there. We're not going to sell sex criminals to a kid.
Hey kid, get over here. Come
Although,
check this out.
At a certain age, I would give it to them because they should read it.
Right. That's fair.
So go buy Sex Criminals. You want it. It's awesome.
There you go. You heard it here. Speaking of variants, so you're at least with the sketches, sort of variant-esque. Have you seen these Marvel hip hop variants?
I do not like the Marvel hip hop variants.
You don't like them, really?
No.
What is it about them?
Well, I'm going to be a comics retailer for a minute.
Go ahead.
One of the things that has driven me nuts for the last year and change are the 50-50 DC variants. I think they're pointless for the most part. They really stretch with the themes, and they're even repeating them now. We have Bombshell variants again next month. And Marvel, here's why I don't like the Marvel ones. We are getting a lot of interest in them. They're not like the DC variants. They're not 50-50 variants. They're incentive variants.
Okay.
So you're not going to be able to walk into your comic shop and get the Notorious B.I.G. Ant-Man cover or whatever one it was.
That's the one I'm looking at right now. And just side note, it's
you're not going to be it's good, but you're not going to be able to walk in the shop and get it. And if I don't order 20 copies of Ant-Man, I'm not going to have any.
Oh, okay, I see.
So I mean, I get what they're trying to do because it's the launch of all new, all different Marvel, and they want people to be excited in that. But I can't sell like 80 copies of Karnak. You know what I mean?
Right. Understandable. Understandable.
So there will be some we get, sure, because we're going to order really heavy on Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man and so on and so forth. But yeah, on a whole, I don't like incentive-based variants. I like 50-50 variants, or like the Sex Criminals thing. That's a cool way to do variants.
That makes sense.
Because it's an actual variant.
Right. Definitely different. I've always thought, I don't know, I've always been weird with variants. I mean, I understand like the urge to have to go out and get the specific one, and people run all over to track them down and everything like that. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I've always been so much more concerned with what's in. It's what's inside that counts. But I mean, I've always been so much more. I always read them. You know what I mean? So I'm almost turned away by variants usually because I don't want to hide my comic book away and never touch. I mean, I have some where it's like that. Certain ones you get your hands on, you go, all right, that one you're not opening. But I mean, for the most part, I get comics because I want to read them. So there's situations where if a variant were to find its way to me, or I happen to be somewhere and there's a really cool variant of something, I'll think about it. For example, I have All New Captain America #1. I have the variant, which is Joe Quesada didn't do it, but somebody did it where it was a sketch of Stephen Colbert.
It was Chris Anka.
That's it, yeah. Joe Quesada showed it on the show.
Yeah, that was a great variant.
That is awesome, where it's Stephen Colbert as the new Falcon with Red Wing behind him. And that one's in the bag. That's just for me to look at because it's pretty, But I mean, for the most part, I'm not, I just care so much more about reading the actual book and if it's a good story. I mean, these are fun to look at, but they're causing some controversy too. I don't feel like getting all into it, but like some people have pointed out, it is kind of interesting that they, have chosen to make all these inspired by hip hop, but then, so far anyways, for All New, All Different, none of the writing staff is African American, but that's for different people to talk about.
Yeah, so, like the Ted Cruz situation.
Right. That's I'm going to talk about that now. Actually, since you brought it up,
go ahead.
I just think it was funny. I think it was funny that, for those of you who didn't know, we're talking about Ted Cruz. It's Ted Cruz running for president of the United States. Republican from Texas. Whatever.
Anyway.
Anyways.
We're not going to get political, but he's not going to win.
No, he's not going to win. It actually says in this article he's 7th right now in the polling.
Which is terrible. Never mind. We're not going to get political.
The one thing I'll say is Donald Trump is number 1 right now.
Yes.
And that's all you need to know about politics in this country. But Ted Cruz was asked, Ted Cruz has taken on this sort of like, he's a self-proclaimed sci-fi nerd. He actually had an interesting thing at a speech he was discussing like a couple weeks ago about whether or not Captain Kirk is a Republican and if he would make a good president. So I just thought that was funny. But somebody asked him his top 5 superheroes. Top 5 superheroes. You think, well, if you're running for office, first off, I think you do what politicians do. You lie. You just tell them 5 guys that are not controversial, and you leave it at that, So his answers, though, were Spider-Man, Wolverine, Batman, Iron Man. That's 4 of the most popular heroes.
And whatever.
Right, makes sense. And then the last one he said is Rorschach. I just found...
Which, if he knew anything about Watchmen, he would have never said in a million years.
This is, somebody had this awesome line on Twitter. This is at bro_pair. Pogo the Death Clown. I don't know who it is, but it's on the article. He says, Ted Cruz's favorite superheroes. Number 1, Carnage. Number 2, Venom. 3, Rorschach. 4, Bane. 5, Hitler.
God.
And, I don't know. Like some people have said, Rorschach is, some interpret him as a satire of rigid right-wing ideals. That's a quote from someone, not my own. But then, so it's funny because then someone in an article said, this is just the last, again, I won't get too political with it, but I'll say someone from the website Young Conservatives said, quote, a character like Rorschach might have been created with the idea of making conservatives look bad, but in reality, it does the opposite. Again, this is a quote from them. They said, nobody likes a hero who constantly compromises on their values and beliefs, who is too scared to stand up to do the right thing because it comes with a heavy price. So, I don't know. I wouldn't exactly take pride in Rorschach. Like, if someone compared me to Rorschach, I wouldn't be like, well, that's a good thing.
That just further proves that there's no right way to analyze Watchmen.
Exactly. I saw that list, and I had to look at that like 5 times. Spider-Man, Wolverine, Batman, Iron Man, Rorschach.
That's pretty weird.
I don't even know. Oh, well, I just had to mention that.
I bet you one of his staffers was like, hey, throw this one in.
Right? Oh, this is another thing. This is, again, I'm just jumping around here at this point, but... did you see this? It's coming out August 26th. I am so excited for this. It is a one-shot from Marvel. It's part of Secret Wars, because anything can go at Secret Wars. Hank Johnson, agent of Hydra.
Yes.
I was reading an article about it. They interviewed the guy behind it. He's a former Seinfeld writer, and now I guess he was just announced as the showrunner for that show Veep on HBO. And
good show.
Yeah. Oh, is it? I haven't seen it. But anyways, so he they showed off some of the covers and some of the pictures and this stuff. If you're a fan of any of that kind of old school Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like Steranko stuff, this is absolutely for you because it looks hilarious. I mean, I'm not even talking about what's like just the pictures they've shown. You've got that old school Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Cover that everybody knows if you see it, where you've got all the psychedelic stuff going on behind him and whatever. But it's him standing there and he's holding like, raw steak or whatever over his black eye. But then behind him is like Nick Fury and stuff. But then there's also like a hose watering a lawn and like his kids and everything riding their bikes. But then like, so it's split between S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff and dad stuff. Because the whole point of the story is he's like, a typical dad. He's in like his 40s and, down on his luck and everything with the economy, and ends up getting a job with Hydra. So you're seeing like, on one hand, he's the guy getting beat up by superheroes and stuff because he's trying to help them do evil, but he's not a bad person. He's at home with his kids and everything. And then on one picture, they have him standing there, and on one side, there's Hydra agents getting beat up by Avengers, and the other side, there's like his wife and kids loading up a minivan on the way to soccer practice. And I'm really excited for this. I think it looks really good.
That one and Howard the Human.
Howard the Human, yes. This is what's so good about Secret Wars. On one hand, it's like, it is just this awesome event, this big epic story crafted by Jonathan Hickman.
But it's also weird.
Right. There's all these just little weird things popping up like this. Like in one of them, I read a story about Blade in winds up in New Quack City in a world of
Yep.
ducks with Howard the Duck.
That was in Battle World #2.
Right.
Yeah.
That was good stuff. And then Duck Blade shows up in it. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
But one other thing I want to talk about with comics is The Punisher just ended, 20-issue run. Did you read any of it? It was Nathan Edmondson, and the art was Mitch Gerrards.
Yeah,
And,
I've read all of it except for the last 2 issues because with San Diego and that life's been a little crazy.
Right, understandable. What did you think of it? Now, 18 issues in.
I enjoyed it. The art, I thought sometimes it looked like he rushed it a teensy bit, but I thought Edmondson's writing was pretty solid.
I loved it. I thought, I agree. It was a really cool Punisher series, a really different Punisher series. So most people are used to him in New York and the alleys and all that and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
I liked that they took him out of New York.
That was really cool. I thought the one thing is towards about the middle or so of the series, they got stuck in a bit of a loop of captured by somebody and then breaks out and then captured by somebody else and breaks out. I want to say that happened 3 times before he finally got his footing back. But
do you think we'll ever have a Punisher series that lasts more than 20 issues ever again?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Shouldn't they just do miniseries at this point? Just do 5-issue miniseries like they do those Deadpool things.
I think a lot of Marvel is drifting away from just a long, continuous runs of anything anymore. Let alone the Punisher. I think you're right. The Punisher needs to be a crafted story. Otherwise, it just gets into I love the Punisher, but how much do you want to keep reading of just running around, shoot that guy, shoot. But there is such good stories in the Punisher's history. But you're absolutely right. It should be little 5-6 issue things, like with Deadpool. But I'd have to agree. It'll be interesting too, though. They're gonna want something out because as of about next spring, he's going to be in the public eye as far as Daredevil season 2.
Yeah, we'll get Punisher volume. What are they up to now? 13?
God, I don't even know.
I think this one was 7, which is ridiculous.
I think it was an interview with Axel Alonso. He had said something when they had brought up Secret Avengers, how in Secret Avengers launched with Marvel Now, the latest run of it, and then 12 issues in, it ended, and then, or I think it was 12 issues or so, and then started back up again. And they kind of asked, why? They kind of asked why, and he brought up that he feels like the comic industry as a whole might be moving towards a system of seasons, more like a show, with a 12-issue thing of planned out whatever, and then relaunching.
Here's my problem with that as a retailer.
Gets confusing.
Okay, perfect example. Spider-Man #1 came out last May.
Yes.
Sold like gangbusters. We literally sold over 100 copies. We sold crap ton of variants. We had up to 35 to 40 subscribers for it. Its whole run, even though it was garbage. And then
definitely got
shout out Dan Slott.
Definitely got weak by the end. I'll give you that.
Okay, really quick tangent. Doesn't Dan Slott look like Gargamel from the Smurfs? Go.
Yes, he does. I'll give you yes.
But anyway,
a little bit. I can see it.
Okay, that run ended at 18, and they're doing all those stupid .1s and all that. Now there's a new Spider-Man #1 already again. It has 15 subscribers.
You mean the Amazing Spider-Man, the new one coming out?
Yes, 15.
15?
From 40 to 15.
Oh, geez.
You know what the #1 reason is? They just did a #1.
Right.
Not everybody unless they explicitly came out and said, look, these books are going to be treated more like seasons, not volumes from now on. We're going to do 13, 15 issue runs, and that's going to be a whole season. You're going to get a whole story in those 15 issues. It's going to be a long continuous thing with little side stories to go with it, and it's going to be awesome. For a long time ago, I said, you know what they should do instead of doing 5 Avengers books? They should put out one 200-page graphic novel Avengers book for $24.95 every month.
Yeah, we had that discussion. That's after Rage of Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that would be awesome.
You get all kinds of Avengers once a month. You could even do Ms. Marvel's really popular, for instance. You could do every couple of months. You could, instead of doing Avengers, you could do 3 or 4 graphic novels featuring smaller characters in these massive volumes and sell them for $25. And I bet you people would eat them up.
Yeah. I think one thing that's interesting...
It's less confusing.
Right. Because especially because of this, 2 things relaunching. One of them was part of that first wave of the 45 or whatever they announced for the all-new different. Howard the Duck #1, and then shortly after that, they announced Unbeatable Squirrel Girl #1. So they're relaunching Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Not even changing Unbeatable. Not even Squirrel Girl #1. It's Unbeatable again. And if that comes out at the end of this year, that means that you can't even categorize it as Unbeatable Squirrel Girl #1 2015 because they're both in the same year. And same with Howard the Duck.
Hawkeye. They just relaunched all new Hawkeye.
Right,
and it's ending at issue 5.
5 issues and it's ending.
And they're relaunching with the same creative team with the #1 in October.
That's the thing that baffles me too when these things are relaunching with the exact same creative team. Why is Howard the Duck ending? Why is Squirrel Girl ending? And why
I can understand Howard the Duck because that's part of the joke with Chip Zdarsky, but
that was funny. It was like Howard the Duck #1. Yes, again.
He gets a new hat.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. As far as the Punisher is concerned, it was just as good as any other run of the Punisher. They didn't reinvent the wheel except for taking him out of New York. The art was pretty to look at, and you got the Punisher killing and avenging people in like 2 to 3 issue chunks.
Yeah, doing what he does best.
So, I mean, read it. It's good, but I mean, if you've read pretty much any Punisher story, you've read this one.
Right. I really thought it was interesting though how they ended it is just sort of the last days portion of it when they're like, you know what, let's bring the Punisher into the Middle East and have him go after. I don't think they said ISIS at all because I'm sure that's something.
No.
But ISIS-esque, whatever, you know.
That was an intro. Say that again. ISIS-esque.
ISIS-esque, ISIS-ish. I think is the term. He was fighting ISIS-ish.
It's a loose term. I think that's the title for the episode. Make sure you put that in the Google results.
ISIS-esque.
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 That'll get us some hits.
There you go. Everybody's Googling ISIS-esque, and then they'll pop onto us. Got it. Did you? Are you reading Weirdworld?
Yes.
I think it's 2 issues.
It's fantastic.
This might be my
I have
favorite
no
book
idea
in
what's
this.
going on in that comic, but it's great.
It's just great. Everybody's nuts in this world.
I'm like, there's some guy made a crystal, and he's holding up a pile of rocks saying that's his king. I'm like, okay, whatever.
That is Crystar, the Crystal Warrior, Prince of Crystallium.
Oh.
First appeared in 1983, 11-issue series, The Saga of Crystar, Crystal Warrior.
I did not know that one. There you go.
Yep. That's how deep this stuff goes.
Mike Del Mundo is killing. The art on that book is beautiful.
His name sounds like a badass surfer, and then his art is beautiful. It is amazing. This Arkan thing. I hope somehow it continues.
It's not
in
selling
some
well.
way.
I can tell you that.
No.
It's
unfortunate. I didn't think it would be, but I mean, it's fun. It's gonna be a little 5-issue thing or something. It's fun. Jason Aaron, I'm really digging Jason Aaron right now. I think he's on a good streak with Thor
Star
and
Wars.
everything and Star Wars. That's right. He's about to have Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
He's got some good stuff going right now.
I agree.
But I think that pretty much. Marvel Zombies. That's one other one I had just taken a note of. You reading Marvel Zombies?
It's not good.
No, you don't like it. I
No.
like Elsa Bloodstone.
She's okay. it's just uninteresting. And trust me, when people come in looking for the Marvel Zombies book and you hand them that and then they flip through it, they're like, never mind.
Yeah.
It's just part of the problem with some of these Secret Wars tie-ins is that they're reusing the names of the old events, which I get. It's celebrating their history, but it's very, very, very confusing to people.
That's understandable. Yeah.
And they want a Marvel Zombies book where the zombies are going around making jokes and eating and stuff. Right. They don't want Bloodstone and all that. They don't want it.
I can absolutely see that thinking that it is, Marvel Zombies, so then when you come in, it's not, Marvel Zombies. I mean, like, and I think it's good, but I can see that, like, with, like, Planet Hulk, too. Like, I wonder if there's any, again, that is a good series, though, so far. But, I mean,
yes.
A lot of these situations where it's kind of like, it's Planet Hulk in name only. But, I absolutely see. I'm really enjoying the development of Elsa. I mean, not necessarily development, but the backstory they're giving her, and sort of, I think it's interesting, because I've seen her sparsely before, so it's getting some backstory. I think it's making her interesting to me, I'll say that. But yeah, not expecting, again, that's another one where I'm probably not gonna see them again for a while.
No.
But I'll survive. That'll be all right. I'll find something else to read. I'm sure I'll manage. All right, that's pretty much gonna wrap it up. Unless you want to talk Ted Cruz.
Wait, really quick.
Oh yeah.
It's time for our weekly DC check-in.
Oh, right.
Okay, guys, we'll talk to you next week.
I'll say this though. I have started looking into some Justice League. I'm gonna read Justice League. I'm gonna do it.
Okay, the Justice League right now is really good.
Yeah.
The Dark Side Warrior is awesome. That, and then, I mean, this Wednesday we get a new issue of Batgirl. 2 issues of Batgirl because the annual comes out. So, there you go.
It's exciting.
Babs Tar in your life.
Exciting stuff. I saw something on Facebook the other day. They're now sharing something about Jared Leto's workout regimen. It's like how
I don't care
how he
at
got
all.
ripped to play the Joker. But I
He's
think
not ripped.
I know, but I think what was funniest though to me was that it was it was one of those promoted posts on Facebook. So it was like movie scoop or something. That wasn't that. It was something like that, but their picture was just a minion, like because the Minion movie. So it's just a picture of a minion, and then it's like, here's how Jared Leto got ripped, and there's like a side by side of his arms or something. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
That's fantastic.
Good for you. Ant-Man #1 again. Let's mention that too. Ant-Man #1 it beat Pixels.
Yeah. If you have not Pixels, God, not Pixels. But if you haven't seen Ant-Man, yeah, go see it. Support this movie. It's fun.
Yeah, it's made
fun. Marvel.
Exactly. It's so fun. It's not depressing, not doom and gloom. Good stuff. So if you haven't, go see Ant-Man. All right, now that's going to wrap it up.
Now we'll go, yeah.
All right, so once again...
Bisex Criminals.
Follow me on Twitter at EricWild91.
Follow me at Jeremy Ohio.
Go to our website. It is comicbooknerd.net, and we will but talk to you guys next week. So thank you so much for listening. Tell your friends, and we'll talk to you next week.
Later, Brimpers.